Welcome to Sam Outside. I'm Sam and I'm outside, sharing some thoughts and considerations around what might make going outside in nature unsafe, dangerous, some disadvantages, if you will. So, first of all, there are safety, comfort, financial, and emotional challenges to spending time in nature. So, I live in a part of the world where 6 months of the year covered in snow. Now, last year we had a record-breaking amount of snow, 14 meters. That's almost 40 feet of snow. Now, that didn't happen all at once. Obviously, it took 6 months, to gather that data. However, that could be a barrier. So I'm outside walking the dog twice a day, every day. And when I don't get out there and use those trails, yeah, they're buried, they're covered. So it requires more effort. Now, at that time of year, there are also some temperature considerations. The minute it gets to be minus 20 degrees Celsius and the wind chill is minus 25 degrees Celsius, there's a risk of exposure. If I'm not protected, then yeah, I will suffer some consequences. But my dog, that's the consideration there. I just can't equip him the way that I can equip myself for those temperatures. So it limits our exposure. That's for our safety. Now, on the flip side of that, at this time of year, I could have a Humidex reading plus 40. Now, that just sucks the life out of you. Oh, it is not comfortable. So I run the risk of exposure in the other direction. All right. So I'm going to expel more energy that I can get risk of dehydration. Right. And that affects my cognitive ability, my emotional state. Just not worth it. So I have to limit my exposure, my time, my energy. Now, there are also some risks beyond exposure when it comes to, encounters with other living things. First and foremost, I carry an Epipen because an insect this big could end my life. Yeah, I'm allergic to bee stings, more specifically wasp stings. At one point in my life, I was, stung more than 30 times. They just stopped counting. So yeah, I was in the hospital for a while, and now I carry an Epipen because the next one could make the difference. So that's on my mind. But beyond that, there are biting insects. This time of year, sandflies or no-see-ums, black flies, mosquitoes, and there are different kinds of those, come out at different times of day, different times of the summer. Deer flies, horse flies, and then there's just random wood-boring beetles that can land on you and take out a chunk just to discover you're not wood. So, yeah, it still hurts. And those things can get infected. And if you get enough bites without the infection, just the little thing they put in you to keep your blood flowing so they can receive your blood more efficiently, yeah, they build up and it can take away from your comfort. Now, beyond that, just being wet, not comfortable, being hot, not comfortable, being cold, not comfortable. But for some people, just the act of being out in nature is not comfortable. We have thousands of people who enter a Canadian forest, come from other parts of the world, where nature is not a safe place. There are things out here, beyond people, from their own region that take human life. And then when I'm advocating spending time in this forest, they're filled with nothing but questions. What if, what if, what if? So yeah, that weighs on their mind, which means they're not prepared emotionally for enjoying time in Canadian forests. The biggest risk for me, outside wildlife, obviously other people, right? But in nature, yeah, it's not a wolf, it's not a bear, a moose, right? They are the largest thing in the forest, thousands of pounds. And come across the wrong moose at the wrong time of year, in the wrong situation, be life-ending. So I make some noise, I wear some bright colors, lets them know that I'm around before, I'm around. Now, the other barriers to spending time outside might just be financial. I mean, if you don't have access to nature nearby, then it means you've got to walk, right? Not a lot of cost, but it costs you your time. Maybe you've got to ride a bike, effort, time, use a car, gas, time, insurance, and all those things that go with owning a vehicle. Or, right, I've got to rely on a ride, take a subway, take a tram, take a bus, take a plane, take a boat. All these things cost time and money. And then I've got to afford the time to spend in nature. If I'm on holiday, that means I'm not making the money that I need to afford to do the thing I want to do, enjoying time out in nature. So yeah, it can be cost prohibitive, not to mention the gear. All right. So to be comfortable, to be safe, it might require choice of footwear, choice of protective layer, right? Choice of adequate clothing. And those things might just be a barrier, right? I work in outdoor education and I've got campers and students, adults that come and yeah, their Crocs put in sport mode, just not safe, right? Or rain boots or a raincoat, just not something they need, right? They just use an umbrella in the city, but an umbrella in nature just doesn't cut it. So, yeah, there's the discomfort, which physically draws back from the experience, but then also emotionally, it builds regret. And then there's accessibility. Some paths that I take require a certain amount of physical ability, and there are some risks with that. Like every day, obviously the forest right now is wet. I run the risk of slips, trips, and falls, not to mention getting lost. So there is a certain amount of awareness of my own capabilities and my time and my exposure. And in those little things I have to consider. Does someone know where I am? Does someone know when I'm expected back? So that if I'm not back, right, they start to either come and look for me or call out, find others who can find me. So these are all, barriers. So there are some considerations if you're going to spend time in nature. If you want to spend time outside, beyond a couple moments, or you want to take an outing, if you will, whether it's for a couple hours, a day, a couple days, a couple weeks, right? There are some things to consider around safety, comfort, cost, and accessibility. But the benefits of that are so incredibly powerful. So don't do it all at once. Make it a habit. Just stepping outside your door, depending on where your door is, can provide great benefit. After that, yeah, it will require some effort to get away from your current situation and environment to find an adequate outdoor space that provides the physical, mental, and emotional, maybe financial benefits that are promoted with exposure to nature. So, things to consider. Thanks for watching. I'll talk to you again soon.